Disclaimer. The content presented in this podcast is for informational and educational purpose only. The opinion expressed by guest or speaker is his or her own and do not necessarily reflect the views of CBSE or the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Viewers are advised to consult relevant CBSE circulars, official notifications on CBSE portals, or relevant experts for specific guidance applicable to their situation. CBSE shall not be liable for any actions taken based on this content. For official updates, visit cbse.gov.in. Copyright CBSE 2026. All rights reserved. Unauthorized reproduction or distribution is prohibited.
What inspired you to become a counselor?
I think the role of a teacher is to counsel and to help students come forward and accomplish what they wish to in their lives.
What was the most impactful experience in your journey of being a counselor?
Every single student, whether they're dealing with parental pressure, whether they're dealing with peer pressure, whether they're dealing with examination fears, every incident is important and not just helps a student, but helps us as counselors and principals and teachers understand what this generation is going through right now.
What do you think that how has social media impacted students' mental health and their self-esteem?
Several countries wanting to restrict the age for social media for students to have access to, and I don't think they are unjustified or wrong in that approach.
So, ma'am, do you think is isolation the reason why students are nowadays getting quite confused about their career choices?
Isolation comes when you have nobody to speak with, when you don't have a friend circle, when you don't have somebody who can be there for you. And as far as career choices are concerned, I think students need to be objective.
How can the parents create a safe space where they can communicate with their children and the children too feel safe communicating with their parents?
Just as you would not have your child comparing the quality of his or her parents with those of other children, similarly, please do not compare your child with somebody else.
How can a teacher support the student's emotions and his well-being in the classroom?
Value the emotions of these young students who are there with you. It's not incorrect to have a feeling or an emotion.
Can you please give a one-liner advice to the parents and the audience watching our podcast?
Cherish your child, value your child, and inculcate and support your child for whatever talent he or she has.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the CBSE Podcast. I'm Arnav Giri, and our guest for today is Miss Yashika Bhardwaj, a renowned counselor. Ma'am, would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much to the CBSE, firstly, for having me here to share some of my views on counseling. And it is indeed a privilege and an honor to be interviewed by such an articulate and smart young man, Arnav. Arnav, I've been in the field of education since 1985. I hail from almost about 5 or 6 generations, if I may be precise, of the Indian Army, and very proudly claim to be that. So the feelings of nationalism and pride for the nation run high in my blood. And I think one of the reasons for me to get into education was so that I could help schools and students nurture citizens who are going to be quality citizens of the future. I've been teaching both computer science as well as English to the senior-most class of the school, which is normally grade 12. I've been principal since the year 2001 of leading CBSE schools in the country. I last was in a school as the director of a school, and all through I have been counseling students, have been a part of the CBSE tele-counseling services ever since inception, which is almost 2 decades now. And I think that is a singular contribution that I can make to helping the students as they move forward in life.
Wow, ma'am, that's so amazing. So what inspired you to become a counselor?
I think the role of a teacher is to counsel and to help students come forward and accomplish what they wish to in their lives. In the process of them wanting to attain their dreams, they do have hesitation, they have fears, they have anxiety. And as you are a teacher, as you move on to becoming a coordinator or a principal, you need to be there for your children. And the one way you can be there is if your child you can be for them a go-to point for them, where they can open up and share, whether it is not just success stories, but if they have any fears, If they have any worries, if they can share with someone, 50% of the problem is solved. That's what inspired me to be a counselor.
Wow, ma'am, you told that you have been the principal and director. So, can I ask that what was the most impactful experience of in your journey of being a counselor?
I think every single student that one has helped has been impactful. Every single story that the students share with you, every concern they share with you is different. I cannot share with you names and incidents in particular because they are related to students, but students reach out when they need help. And students need someone that they can approach, whether anonymously or in a face to face mode. But if they can talk to you, every single incident is important. The cases of counseling increase when the examinations are close at hand, but the cases are there throughout the year as well. And as I said, every single student, whether they're dealing with parental pressure, whether they're dealing with peer pressure, whether they're dealing with examination fears, or the fear of wanting to accomplish and be something in life and thinking perhaps they're not able to do it, every incident is important and not just helps a student, but helps us as counselors and principals and teachers understand what this generation is going through right now. And they're going through a lot because it is a techno savvy generation. In fact, I would say they're born into technology. And with technology come a lot of pros and cons. And they're finding it a little difficult to adjust to this new world.
Ma'am, your experience talks, and you have taught many students. So, can you tell that what are the common mental health challenges that students face today?
I think I almost covered it in the previous answer that I gave you, that students have pressure from their parents, they have pressure from their peers, they have pressure from society and hopes and aspirations of their own. But what I would like to say here is that every student's competition lies with his or her own self. And that's one thing that every single child should understand, that you are not necessarily in the rat race for marks. Yes, marks are important because the proof of the pudding lies in the eating. And how do you test unless you can validate what the child has accomplished? But marks are not the be all and end all son of life. And I hold a gold medal from a university for my Bachelor of Education. I also hold a gold medal for my master's in education, but I do not say with any sense of shame that I never got 90%. And I don't know how many CEOs of companies can claim that they were 90 percenters. So why are we in the race for attaining that magic 90% number? Whereas the students today must understand that that number is not something they have to accomplish. They have to encourage themselves and attain their competencies and skills, because that's what's going to take them forward.
So, ma'am, you were telling about the parental pressures and the pressure that societies put on students. So, do you think that these are the reasons that students nowadays struggle to show their emotions?
Emotions are integral to every human being, and we have to come to terms with that. That sense of when we used to say, for example, boys don't cry. Why don't they cry? They are human too. So, societal pressure is something that will always be there. A little bit of pressure is always important. I'm sure whenever you've gone on stage to speak as a student representative, you've got those little butterflies in your stomach. Those little butterflies make you do more, make you want to accomplish more. So, pressure is important because it helps you be the best version of yourselves each passing day.
So, ma'am, we know that this era is of social media. So, what do you think that how has social media impacted students' mental health and their self-esteem?
I call this era an era of insta gratification. So I'm not referring to any social media platform, but it's insta gratification. If I share with you, when my kids were younger, and if they wanted me to make a pizza for them, I really had to plan and think that how would I get all the ingredients and make it for them. But what do you do now? You just simply order it from your food delivery apps. And why just the children, even the adults? Those who are watching this podcast as well, when they get up at night or in the daytime, when they have some spare time, they're scrolling like this. And I've seen young 2-year-old children also become very adept with this little finger to scroll. So social media is impacting us in a very huge way. We've just had, it was this morning's newspaper that has spoken about several countries wanting to restrict the age for social media for students to have access to. And I don't think they are unjustified or wrong in that approach, because we have to be sensible. We cannot ignore the fact that social media is here in our lives. We cannot ignore the fact that social media will impact our lives, but we have to be sensible about one, our access to it, two, very important, our visibility on social media, because that is where a lot of security issues come in play.
So, ma'am, we all know that social media has packed students and peers nowadays into many small rooms. So, how should we approach to students who do not open up to their parents or even their peers or teachers?
The largest problems in the world, son, have been solved by conversation, by talking. And we will not mention any problems over here, but there is no problem which cannot be solved by communicating. Your closest friends are your parents, either your mother or your father. So if students may or may not open up to parents, possibly because parents are putting undue pressure on them, and sometimes parents make the mistake of wanting to live and accomplish their dreams through their children, not realizing that, as Khalil Gibran had said, that the students are like arrows and you are the bow. So the archer has pulled the bow string and let the arrow fly, but the arrow has to take its own path and achieve its own targets. So if they feel they cannot speak to their parents, there must be somebody. They must have someone, whether it's a teacher, whether it's an adult who they can speak with. And I would not say speak with your or take advice from peers. You must take advice from peers, but an adult advice would be also validating what they say. There must be somebody you can speak with. Not necessary that you speak your mom or your dad. They are the best ones. But if not, somebody should be there.
So, ma'am, do you think is isolation the reason why students are nowadays getting quite confused about their career choices?
No, I would disagree with that. Isolation comes when you have nobody to speak with, when you don't have a friend circle, when you don't have somebody who can be there for you. And as far as career choices are concerned, I think students need to be objective. That era of speaking about wanting to be an engineer or a doctor or an architect or a lawyer, those professions will exist. But there are so many new professions that are coming up nowadays. I was sharing with somebody just the other day, it takes me approximately 2.5 to 3 minutes to wear a sari, but nobody ever paid me 3 lakh rupees to wear a sari as specialists nowadays are being paid. So it's a career which is something I would never even have thought of. So the world today is opening up to your skills, to your entrepreneurship abilities. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're a student of AI. And when I was in school and when I was teaching computer science, I had never thought of AI. And now it's here to stay. The very simple example being the maps that we use. Every single one of us, we are dependent upon our maps. And wherever they ask us to move, despite our logic or knowledge of roads, we access it. So, no, I would not say isolation confuses students, but isolation itself is wrong. And career choices should be made keeping in mind the students' inherent abilities.
So, ma'am, talking about career, how should students carry both their interests and marks together while choosing their career?
I would say interest is more important than marks. Supposing I were to give you an example that I have a PhD in carpentry, and at home your study table breaks. So in your neighborhood you have a very, very skilled carpenter. Would you call that skilled carpenter to repair your study table, or would you call me as a PhD in carpentry? So it's the skill that is more important than anything else. So an interest holds, what a student holds as an interest should be of maximum value, not marks.
Ma'am, if a student is confused about their career, so what should be the first step he or she should make?
I think the students' career options must start, and they start working towards them when they are in grade 8 or grade 9. Coming to decide what your career is going to be when you come to grade 11 is much too late. Because when you're in grade 8, you must, in fact, the family, the school, they must have a system where the students are exposed to a large number of career options that they can have. Once they're exposed to the career options, they are able to decide where they wish to be. Now, you do have students who have taken a particular stream either because of friends or because of parents, also because of their own interest. Now, within each stream, whether you're taking the medical stream or the non medical stream or the art stream, there are a plethora of options available for your careers. The priority number one, which I would advise students to do, is identify the top 20 professions that you would like to be in. And this should be done in grade 9. Once a student identifies the top 20 professions, this can be done sitting with parents, it can be done sitting with family, it can be done sitting with teachers. Then start eliminating out of these 20. And how do you eliminate? You start ranking these professions. Ask the child on their own to rank them from number 1 being the choice number 1 to number 20 being the last choice as far as those 20 are concerned. Then start focusing on the top 10. Remove the last 10. You've come down to the 10. Students are adept at researching. They must use the internet. They must use their peers. They must use the teachers, the parents available so that they can find out more about those top 10 professions. I guarantee you that they will be able to narrow down to 5 which are in consonance, not just with the stream that they are taking, but also with the interest that they have.
Ma'am, you have taught and guided many students about their careers. So can you please tell that what are the common mistakes that students make and how can they resolve it?
The number one mistake that the students make is wanting to pursue a stream of study based on the career aspirations that their parents have. And the second most common mistake is simply wanting to do a course just because their friends are doing the course. Friends are very important, but friends do get left behind when you have to move on in your own life. And I must share with you an incident with one of my students who was very sad one day, and he was a very, very good writer. So I spoke with him and I asked him, I said, "What's wrong? You're looking a little low." He says, "Ma'am, I want to be a writer." I said, "What's wrong with that?" He says, "My parents want me to become a doctor and I don't want to become a doctor." So I spoke with the parents and counseled them. And the answer that I got was surprising because both parents were doctors and they had set up a hospital of their own and he was their only child. And their concern was that now that we have set up a hospital, who's going to take it on after us? And he was a brilliant child. And what he did was he did clear the examination. He did become a doctor and he pursued his parents' dreams till such time they passed on. And when they passed on, he sold the hospital and started writing for himself. So you must follow your heart. You must follow your interest. You must follow your abilities, because where there is a connect between your heart and your brain, you will have success.
Ma'am, as you told earlier that communication is the key. So how can the parents create a safe space where they can communicate with their children and the children too feel safe communicating with their parents?
I think here I address all the parents who would be watching here. Your child is special. Your child is unique and your child is your own. Just as you would not have your child comparing the quality of his or her parents with those of other children, similarly, please do not compare your child with somebody else. Your child is special, and that is what you need to celebrate. And what you need to create in your home is an environment where Sharma ji ke bete ke kitne marks aaye are not important. But what is important is creating an environment, being a support system, being the spine for your child so that your child can stand ramrod straight and your child can be a success in whatever field that he or she chooses to be.
Ma'am, in your such vast career, you might have seen you have seen many parents sending their children for counseling. So can you tell us that when should the parents consider their child giving professional counseling?
The very first counselor for a child are the parents themselves. But parents sometimes have a communication gap. Now, when that communication gap happens, the important thing is first, clear the communication gap. Secondly, be observant. Parents are there at home, they are noticing the changes in their children. Normal adolescent behavioral changes as the children grow can be cast aside. But if they notice any particular peculiarities in their child where they feel that they are not in a position to be able to handle it, approach the school. Talk to the school, find out from the teachers, the principal, and the counselor there what changes have been observed by the teachers and the principal and the counselor there in school. And if there is consonance, if there is synchronization between what is going on in school and what is going on at home, that is where you can start asking the teachers to note what changes are there in the child, corroborate them with what is going on at home, and then take on counseling for as a professional help. There's no shame in counseling. We, in fact, in our country, and I don't know if anybody would disagree with me on this, but a lot of us go for satsangs. A lot of us go for opinions that we take from Gurujis and we feel good about it. Why do we do that? We do that because somebody who's in a better position can give us some kind of guidance. And we go there, get that gyan, get that comfort, and then we come back feeling happy. And that's exactly what counseling is. And if you see the very first photograph that we have on the cover of the Gita, we have Krishna and Arjun over there. Perhaps that is the very first case of guidance and counseling ever in the history of mankind. And it originated in our country. So there is no shame in counseling. So whenever a parent feels that, yes, this is beyond my capabilities, I'm not able to handle it, they must go for a professional counseling, provided they're not able to handle the situation at home.
So, ma'am, as it is said that teachers are the second parents to a student, so how can a teacher support the student's emotions and his well-being in the classroom?
The teachers, in fact, when we were in school, we were told that parents take the place of God on earth and teachers take the place of parents in school. And as I said earlier, parents cannot be judgmental. So teachers need to move on from being the sages on the stage to being guides on the side, where you are actually what we call in Hindi a margdarshak, where you're showing the student a path that he or she can take. And at the same time, value the emotions of these young students who are there with you. It's not incorrect to have a feeling or an emotion. And we as teachers do not have to be judgmental. You cannot have the same capability of students or 40 students in the class. We have to understand that the attainment capability of students would be differentiated, which is why we have differentiated learning. But what we have to ensure is that no child is left behind and that every single child is the best version of himself or herself every passing day. And that is what a teacher has to enable.
So, ma'am, the starting phase of a student depends wholly on parents and school. So, how can school and parents collaborate together to nurture a student's well-being?
Son, you just said teachers are the second parents. So the school is a second home. And it has been said, and very rightly so, that a child educated only in school is an ill-educated child. I always feel that the home and the school are like a tandem bicycle, where two people are pedaling at the same time. The school and the teachers, the school and the home, we are on that tandem bicycle. Sometimes it's the home that is sitting in front. Sometimes it is the school that is sitting in front. And in a tandem bicycle, there is only one person who has the control. The beauty here is that our goal is the same. Our aim is the same. That of the overall and the holistic growth of a child such that a child is successful in life. So we have to be pedaling in synchronization. At any point of time, should either the school waver or the home waver, the tandem bicycle is going to fall. There is no way in which a child can attain success unless and until the home and the school are on the same page.
So, ma'am, can you tell us more about stress management techniques and any three daily habits that students can perform in their life or inherit them in their life to manage stress and anxiety?
Are you wanting only academic habits for results and marks, or in general?
Ma'am, in general.
Okay, so I would firmly say that you must be involved in some kind of physical activity. Some sport must be a part of your life. I think probably since the age I was 6 years old till date, there's not been a single day when I've not been involved in any kind of physical activity for at least an hour a day. And that makes me feel positive. It makes me feel focused. So for students, I would say be involved in some kind of a sport or physical activity. Number two, have a schedule, have a timetable. And if you have a schedule or a timetable that you have made yourself, you have ownership of that timetable. Don't expect your parents or your teachers. Yes, in school, you will be following a timetable because it has to apply to every single student in the school. But at home, when you have time on yourself, focus. If you have planned on doing something, try to accomplish it. Don't be disheartened by not attaining your marks. But always remember that if you target 60%, you would probably be achieving about 50%. So aim high, be very focused and determined to achieve the aim that you have targeted for yourself, and be driven. And in that process, take care of your health and your diet as well.
So, ma'am, can you please tell some more tips on handling exam anxiety?
Plan your strategy. Every single subject has a syllabus that you follow. And in your syllabi booklet, you have got the marks breakdown for every single unit and every single chapter. So just imagine if there is a war, you simply don't take all your troops and go into a war and attack in toto. You plan that this is how I'm going to go. This is the angle that I'm going to attack from. So as far as your subjects are concerned, take a look at your marks breakdown. Take a look at which unit is best, which unit is going to get you more marks. And if you are focused, then there is no reason for you to fail. Secondly, must have your notes. There is no such thing as a last minute preparation. We may be an insta gratification generation, but you can't have a last minute solution for preparation for exams. And it has to begin much before. So at the beginning of the year, of every single year, you need to target, where am I going to go? Be in touch, be in pace with your school, attend school regularly, and have follow-up revisions being done at home, because that follow-up revision cements what your teacher has taught you in school. Must have, apart from your homework, at least 45 minutes to 1 hour where it is my own time work, where I'm going to study for myself, where I'm going to recap and revise for myself.
So, ma'am, we know that there are many students who break down after failing their first attempt. So, are there any advices that you would like to give the students who are dealing with low confidence and self-doubt?
Like I said earlier, the number one competition is with you yourself, and there will be failures in life. If, for example, you were to have nothing sour or salty to eat, how would you value sweetness in your life? Similarly, when you are going as adults here, I talk to the parents as well, when you're going for a drive and you're driving at a good pace, enjoying the weather, you slow down when there is a speed breaker there and you bring your vehicle back into gear 2. What do you do after that? You go back into a gaining speed and coming back. You have encountered that speed breaker. You would not know success and speed unless and until you had come across that speed breaker. So value your speed breakers as hurdles which are teachers themselves. They teach you adversity. They teach you how to overcome adversity. They teach you how to overcome a problem and move on from there.
So, ma'am, talking about counseling and student pressure, is there any myth common about counseling that you would like to break?
Yes, that it is a very Western idea. It is not a Western idea. And counseling, guidance and counseling is something we all crave for. As adults, if we have a problem, we do talk to each other as companions. We do talk to our parents. We may talk to older parents or family members in the family and seek their advice. So counseling is not a Western thing. Counseling is something which is just having someone there for you whom you can talk to and unburden your heart to them, unburden your fears to them.
So, ma'am, let's head to our rapid fire round. Uh, what what is one word that you would like to describe today's students?
They want success at a very quick pace.
And what do you think about counseling? Is it a necessity or a luxury?
Very, very much a necessity. Very much a necessity. And I could not emphasize that more.
So, ma'am, can you please give a one-liner advice to the parents and the audience watching our podcast?
I think, as I said earlier, celebrate your child, value your child. And every single child has a talent inside them. And that is what we need to nurture and inculcate. That talent and that confidence a child has, knowing that the family is very much behind him or her, knowing very much that the student is supported by the teachers and the school, will encourage a child to be confident, will encourage a child to be a success story in whatever field he or she undertakes. Please remember, as I said earlier in this session, that hardly few CEOs are there of leading companies in the world who can claim to have got 99%. I have not got 99% in my life, and I don't think I have been a failure in any way at all. So marks are not important. It is the journey that we are undertaking in our lives, of which school is an integral part, which is more important. So cherish your child, value your child, and inculcate and support your child for whatever talent he or she has.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure listening to you, and we hope your guidance. Will surely benefit the students. Thank you for joining with us.
Thank
today.
you so much for having me here. And thank you to the CBSE for giving me this opportunity to be interviewed by a young man who's so articulate in his questions, and for enabling me to share my thoughts with the audience. Thank you, son.
Thank you. Ma'am. Thank you. Signing off, Arnav Giri with our guest of the day, Miss Yashika Bhardwaj. Thank you.